G'day, welcome to Bradley's Bakehouse, where today we're going to be making a beautiful strawberry and mascarpone tart. Strawberries and cream has always kind of been like an apex of summer desserts for me. We're just coming into strawberry season now. It's really starting to warm up here in Queensland. So we're going to make a beautiful little short crust pastry. We're going to make some lovely, sweet, creamy, like mascarpone and whipped cream filling. And then we're gonna cover the top in beautiful fresh strawberries and drizzle like a little bit of this really lovely strawberry sugar syrup reduction over the top. It's gonna be delicious. For the pastry, we just need some plain flour, some sugar, some lovely butter from New Zealand. This has been frozen because I'm gonna grate it in, and some ice water. For the filling, we've got equal parts mascarpone and whipped cream, and we're gonna add a little bit of sugar to it, just sort of to taste, and a little bit of vanilla as well. And then we've got about a ½ kilo of strawberries, which I've separated in half. We're gonna use half of these for making our syrup. That's gonna have equal parts water and sugar in it, and like a little splash of balsamic, because balsamic and strawberry play really nice together. If that sounds weird to you, just go with me on this. And then the other half of the strawberries, which are kind of like a similar size, similar shape ones, they're the ones that we're gonna slice and layer over the top of our beautiful tart. So we got to get started making the pastry, so let's get to that now. Making short crust pastry, really easy. So So, nice big bowl, in goes our flour. Again, if you want correct measurements for everything, just check the description or like the title card that I will probably make for this. So flour's in there. This is a little bit of caster sugar. That's gonna go in too. Tiniest little pinch of salt. This is some butter that spent a little bit of time in the freezer. I'm just gonna coat this in flour, the same flour that I've got in this bowl. And then I'm gonna pass it through the wider sides of a box grater. The flour just makes it easier to hang on to, and also this butter, like my body is warm and this butter is cold, so the butter's gonna start melting. We don't really want that. When you're making pastry like this, you wanna keep the butter as cold as possible. That's really important to this. In Queensland, where I live, we're a very short walk away from the sun. So that is often quite difficult. Like I can already tell this has already started melting now. And I think it's been out of the fridge for about 5 minutes. There's a lot of different ways to do this. You can get one of those special tools if you want. I'm not a big fan of a tool that only does one thing, so I'm just gonna get my hand in there. My hands, I should say. You just wanna push the butter into the flour, right? You wanna create like this sort of like little peas, kind of like wet sand, little pea-sized things. You'd be surprised how quickly this comes together after you do it a couple times. Short crust is not a difficult thing to make. You just gotta be mindful of the time. You just gotta work fairly quickly if it's like a hot day. Like it's about 1 o'clock in the afternoon now, and I think it's about 31 degrees. So, you know, just kind of gotta work quickly, work with what you got. I'm pretty happy with that. That's kind of our like little sort of see that kind of size. And now to that, this is it's probably about 40 grams of ice water. I'm gonna pour this in, and I'm gonna let the ice go in there too, because I want that ice it's not gonna get colder than that. It's gonna bring the temperature of all of this down, considering I'm putting my great big warm hand in there and I'm like smashing it around and smashing it together and stuff. But this is gonna start coming together really nicely now. Look at that, beautiful. That ice is gonna melt as we sort of bring it together. You don't wanna knead it, but you do wanna like bring it together, you know? Okay, so what we're gonna do now that our dough has come together is we're gonna sprinkle it with a little bit of flour, and we're gonna sprinkle our bench top with a little bit of flour. I'm gonna put it down. Not too much. You really don't wanna use too much flour for this. You shouldn't need to. It shouldn't be like sticky. If it's sticky, you might have used a bit too much water. We're gonna shape this into a disc as best we can. We're gonna get it as round as possible, because the rounder it is now, the easier it's gonna be to roll out later. And I'm pretty happy with that. So, what we're gonna do with this is just a glass container. It's nothing special about it. What I like to do is I like to take this disc, put it on the lid, turn this upside down. Hey. How about that? And this is gonna go in the fridge for probably at least half an hour, and that's gonna do a few things. The flour's gonna hydrate, the little bit of gluten that we formed is gonna relax, and also it's gonna return to being cold again, and we're gonna delay that butter melting. Remember, we wanna keep that butter from melting for as long as possible, until it goes into the oven, right? Butter needs to be cold to emulsify. Very good lesson in pastry making. Okay, while our pastry is cooling down and relaxing, we're gonna make a very simple strawberry syrup. So you might have noticed that I'm wearing a different shirt for this. This is actually a really obscure technique in baking called a continuity error. Just go with me and we'll get through this together. Okay, sweet, love you. We've got about 1/4 kilo of strawberries here that we've just quartered. They're just gonna go in the pot, like so. I've got this cool little thing that's got like a strainer in it. You're gonna have to strain this later. I just get to do this like this because I'm special. In goes equal parts water and sugar. Then we are just gonna start this up. So this is probably gonna take about 10 minutes. It's gonna get all sweet and delicious and strawberry-y and lovely. And it's just, we're gonna use it to just add like a lot of depth and sort of like additional strawberry flavor to our tart. Without this kind of thing, it's sort of just like pastry, mascarpone, fresh strawberries, which is delicious, but we just wanna add like another little dimension to it, if you know what I mean. We're also just gonna add a little pinch of salt, just a little bit, not much. That's coming together really nicely now. Like if I take that out, we can see that's starting to pick up a lot of nice, really good red color. The strawberries themselves are starting to lose their color. They're starting to break down a little bit. At this stage, we want to be pretty gentle when we're stirring it. While a little bit of sediment in there is like fine and stuff like that, we want to keep our syrup relatively clear. It's probably going to go for another couple minutes. I bet that tastes incredible. In fact, you know what? I'm going to match that with my words. How does this taste? Oh yeah. Oh, that's good. That's very, very good. Right at the end here, this is balsamic vinegar, which might seem like a weird move, but this right now, if we taste this as it is, right? That is just like super sweet. That is just so sweet, and that's fine. We just need a little bit of acid to cut through it, because like if we consider what else is in the tart, it's like flaky pastry, soft cream cheese, strawberries. Like we just need a little bit of like acid, and we're gonna get that by just adding a little splash of the balsamic in there. Just the tiniest drop, right? We're gonna cook that down just a tiny bit more, give that another wee taste just to see how we're going. And also because I want an excuse to eat some more. Oh yeah, that's the business. These strawberries, right? You can put these on yogurt, you can put these on cereal, you could eat them as they are, save them. They're delicious. They've been cooking in lovely sugary syrup for 10 minutes. Don't throw these out, right? Use them for something. Put them on your muesli, put them in yogurt, do something with them. They're tasty, right? That's gonna thicken down a lot more when it cools, and it's gonna be a lovely pouring consistency to pour over our tart at the end. It's gonna give it a nice lovely shine. It's gonna be delicious. Right, we do need this to be like fully cool by the time that it's done. We probably won't use all of this, but like, this is great in cocktails. This is great in like yogurt or over ice cream or anything like that. This is a really nice stuff to sort of have around. There you go, there's our delicious strawberry syrup. Made in about 10 minutes. Oh, it smells incredible. Beautiful. But yeah, this is going in the fridge just with the lid propped on top until we're ready to decorate our tart. Okay, so I'm wearing a black shirt again. Just go with it. And our dough is ready to be rolled out. It's just a regular old rolling pin. Technology as old as the world is. We're just gonna throw a little bit of flour onto our bench. This is nice and firm, nice and cooled, nice and ready to be rolled out. We got a little bit of flour on the bench. That's just to stop it sticking. Remember, we gotta work relatively quickly because it's somehow warmer than it was before. When I roll something like this out, I kind of just roll it up and down and then just turn it like a little bit, you know? The thinner it gets, the quicker that butter in it is gonna cool down. And the thinner you'll be able to roll it. Shortcrust pastry is definitely not like a mythical thing. It is, I think, very simple, and it should be very simple. I don't think stuff like this in particular should be that complicated. I think this is the sort of thing that anybody should be able to do, you know? Nearly there, just got to even out some of these edges. Take this little bit here, chuck it in that valley there. Roll her out just to get her a bit rounder. That's probably about the size that we need. We're gonna be loading it into this. This is a, what is it? Like a 26 centimeter, 10-inch-ish cast iron skillet. There is absolutely no specific reason as to why I'm using cast iron. I just think it looks cool. That's it. You could use a pie dish, whatever. I don't care. I just think this looks cool and I like looking for reasons to use it. There's a trick to this, which is sort of rolling the pastry back onto the rolling pin. Getting it nice and rolled up like that. Put that in the center. And then unrolling it over the top of our pie dish, cast iron skillet, whatever you want to call it. And we sort of just got to just gently lift it and place it in. Maybe drop it a touch straighter than I did. Just lift it and let it fall into the corners. Don't push it into the corners. Lift it and let it fall in. Now, we've got all these extra bits. I'm gonna cut these extra bits. I'm gonna use them to sort of neaten up the bits around the sides that aren't maybe as high as the others. I'm just gonna cut these. Cool, like this. Get that up there. Get that nice and into the wall. Doesn't need to be perfect. I like to think of this as like a quick summertime dessert. This isn't something that I would like meticulously fawn over. Nature's kind of done all of the work for us by making those strawberries. The farmers, I should say. Nothing that natural about those strawberries anymore, is there? Patch up those little weird bits. People see pastry and they think everything needs to be perfect, and I just completely disagree with that. I think this sort of thing should be pretty like accessible and fun, you know? More importantly, it should be fun. Like, yeah, you guys know what I mean. There we have it. That is our lovely little tart crust, pie crust, whatever you want to call it. This is going to go back in the fridge for at least half an hour before we bake it. We need that butter to cool down. This is just about room temperature now, which is not what we want. So this is just going to go back in the fridge for about half an hour. Okay, so our pie crust has been chilling for half an hour. We've got to prepare it now with some foil and some pie weights. So I find this is best done with 2 sheets of foil. Like that. You lay them crisscross over the top of each other and sort of like fold them around the edges like that. That'll do it to a few things. One, you'll get even coverage with the pie weights. 2, the crust won't be exposed, so it's not actually going to brown during this like first stage of cooking. These are pie weights. You can use rice, you can use beans. These are just little ceramic balls. Just load them in there. Get them like spread out evenly. So what this is gonna do, we're gonna do what's called blind baking it, right? And as it blind bakes, we want the bottom to stay on the bottom. We don't want it to steam and like puff up and create a really like uneven surface on the bottom. So this is gonna keep the tart crust in place and stop it from like rising in a way that we don't want it to. So this is gonna go into a 200-degree oven for about 15 minutes, and then we're gonna remove the pie weights, dock it, and then finish baking it. So let's get this in the oven now. Okay, so now we're gonna make the filling for our tart. I've got my Kenwood stand mixer here with the whisk attachment on. The first thing that we've got to do is whip our cream. So this is about 300 grams or so of just heavy cream. That's gonna go in our stand mixer like that. Now we're doing the cream first because you need to whip cream in like a clean, cold, like dry bowl, right? So any water in there, any like excess fat or anything is just really gonna shit the whole thing up. But yeah, we're gonna do this, and this is just whipping cream. So we're gonna turn it on to quite high. We're gonna make sure it's turned on at the power. Then we're gonna turn it on. Cool, so we flog that until we get, you know, peaks up. It, you know, it clings to shit, it doesn't fall over. Tastes like whipped cream. I don't know how else to describe that. We are gonna load this into a bowl on the side. Cool. And then get that in the fridge. Now the second part of our filling, this is mascarpone, Italian soft dessert cheese. This is equal parts, so it's about 300 grams again. That's just gonna get loaded in there. The mascarpone is way less picky when it comes to getting whipped. It doesn't need to be the first thing that goes in. I'm not gonna bother rinsing the bowl, and I advise that you don't either. Now into that as well, we're gonna put just a little bit of caster sugar, and we're also gonna add a little pinch of salt. Gonna bring this down, and much of the same. After that's been going for a little bit, everything's nice and combined. Oh, we're just gonna load our cream in, and then we're not trying to like whip it any further, we're just trying to combine it. Start it. Don't need to go super high speed, we just need to get it combined. And there we go. That is gonna be our filling. How does that taste? Oh my god. Oh, that's so good. So this is gonna get loaded back into the container and then just left in the fridge to chill until we're ready to assemble our tart. Okay, so it's been about 15 minutes. I'm gonna pull out our tart shell. Go. Be really careful when you remove these pie weights, especially if you're using like the ceramic ones like these, because they're as hot as everything else is. Oh, one piece. Woo! Yeah, boys. There we go. So that is probably about halfway baked. As you can see right now from that blind bake, it like barely shrank. So keeping it nice and cold stops it from shrinking. Now we need to do what's called docking. So I'm just gonna take this as just a regular fork and we're just gonna stab the fuck out of it, just dozens of times. Let's get that bottom nice and full of holes. There we go. This is gonna help stop the bottom from like puffing back up and making it look all weird. Yeah, there we are. That's gonna go back in for probably another 10 to 15 minutes, depending on how brown we want it. And back in. Okay, so it's been another 15 minutes or so of our crust baking without the pie weights in. Have a look at that. Yeah, she's good. She's flaky, she's tender, she's golden. That's a crust. I've always found like a good metric to test if like a pie crust or a tart crust or something, just a crust is like done, is if it pulls away from its vessel while it's still warm, you know it's at least one aspect of it is done. This needs to fully cool before we can fill it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put the whole thing onto a cooling rack so that some air gets on. Ooh, that's some steam. Hey now. Hope the cameras can see that. That's some steam because I dried my hands on my tea towel. Ooh, 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 ooh. That, we did not intend for that to happen. I probably wouldn't venture to fill this before like half an hour or so because that's cast iron that's just come out of the oven, so that's quite spicy. But yes, we're gonna let this fully cool, and while we wait for it to fully cool, we're gonna prepare the last of our toppings, which is gonna be our fresh sliced strawberries. I bought 2 punnets of strawberries. And these are like the nicer, uniformly sort of sized ones. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna slice these up. I'm gonna take the top off. I'm just gonna slice them up into like relatively thin, uniform slices because I've got a pretty good idea. I need another bowl. I've got a pretty good idea of how I wanna lay these across our nice. God, look how, God, they smell amazing. Strawberries come out every Christmas. Whether it was like pavlova or like chocolate dipped ones or like anything like that. Like if you get like a nice, fresh, as good as you can get it, strawberry, like in high season, man, I'm struggling to think of things that are nicer. Maybe like a nice Kensington Pride mango, like in full season. I remember when I, ages and ages ago, I worked at a deli and I had to walk past a fruit shop to get to work. And you could always tell the first week that they had mangoes out, and like the smell of it like hits you, and I would need to like stop and just like stand there for a bit because it was just such a swift punch in the fucking childhood, you know? Alrighty, our crust is now cooled down. It's at room temperature. We are ready to assemble our tart. Finally. So first up here we have our mascarpone whipped cream filling. Just gonna scoop that out, just throw it down. Oh, this is my favorite bit, the assembly. We're just gonna smooth that down. Get that nice and in there. Get it out to all the wee cracks. Want like a relatively smooth layer. Then we're gonna get our fresh strawberries. Now what I'm thinking is that I'd like to do like a little sort of kind of flowery petal sort of thing. So gonna put these around the edges like so. I kind of like having the ability to like see the like mascarpone filling underneath it. Because I like visual indicators. I like when you're about to like, when you're serving something or you're about to bite into something and you can sort of like tell what's in it, you know? And then we're gonna go the other direction. Yeah, that's gonna look nice. We're gonna go the other direction. Beautiful. The last step is our beautiful strawberry syrup. I'm just gonna give this like a little light drizzle, just over the top. Just let that sort of saturate. Get in like the nooks and crannies of the strawberries and stuff like that. Make things nice and shiny. There we go. Plenty of this left. Put it in cocktails, pour it over ice cream, put it in yogurt. It's delicious. A million things. This will keep in the fridge for like quite a while. So enjoy having this left over. And there we have our strawberry mascarpone tart. Oh yeah. Come here. Like it's delicious, but like, of course it's delicious. It's one of those things where like, we didn't really do much. We made like a mascarpone filling, we made like a strawberry syrup and we made a crust and then we just put some delicious strawberries on top. The strawberries did the majority of the work on this. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you got something out of this. This tart could be made with just about any berry or like fruit that you wanted to do. This would be delicious with blueberries. This would be delicious with any other kind of berry. This would be delicious with like pieces of mango or peach or anything like that. If it's the kind of fruit that you can macerate down and make like a little bit of like a syrup out of, it could go really well in this. So thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you want to. We've got some really cool stuff coming up. This is Bradley's Bakehouse. Have a good day. I'm gonna eat this now.